I asked Yohan about it. I was like, did you go to the ATM and take money out of my account? He's like, no. I was like, are you sure? Today someone went to the ATM and took money out. And he's like, no.
Straight up lied. Yohan completely
$160 from an ATM in the Dominican Republic using her card without asking. And this is the woman Reddit has been describing for 4 seasons now as the victim of this marriage. Hold that dollar figure. We are going to revisit it.
Now, the details were damning. This mistress had not only met Yohan's father and his nephew, she'd also been sending Yohan money and had been sleeping with Yohan throughout his marriage to
And that is the number she thinks Yohan slept with during the marriage. Also specific. Also clean. 50 to 60, a range, notice. Not an estimate. A range, which is the kind of precision you land on when you have spent time counting. She did the work.
She hosts these retreats at places like Bali and the Dominican Republic. But
all right, let's set the scene for anyone pretending this is their first rodeo. Danielle Gates, late 40s, New Yorker, professional, financially comfortable by Dominican beach town standards, which is a critical modifier. Yohan Geronimo, Dominican, 6 years younger, baseball-shaped body, English on a strict rationing plan. They meet in the DR on a vacation. They fall, as the show insists on calling it, in love. Danielle books a one-way ticket. She moves to Corto Plata. She begins within 48 hours of landing to file grievances. I want to name the exact moment the relationship cracks, because it's not the cheating, it's not the money, it's not the dog. It's earlier. It's the moment Daniele realizes that moving to the Dominican Republic to be with a Dominican man means she now lives in a Dominican apartment with Dominican electricity and her water heater has opinions about mornings. That is the moment. That is the hairline fracture. Everything after that is just the porcelain breaking in the direction the crack pointed.
If Yohan thinks that he has an American wife who's going to completely enable him and support him, then he's picked the wrong American. I am not interested in having a kept man. I've made that very clear.
The grievances, I want to be clear, are about the Dominican Republic, the country, which she has moved to on purpose with a passport, using her own money. She is shocked that it is hot. She is shocked it is loud. She is shocked the food is different. She is shocked the extended family is large. She is shocked the plumbing is seasonal. She is shocked, most of all, that her Dominican husband has a Dominican life, with Dominican friends in a Dominican neighborhood, conducted in Dominican Spanish, on a Dominican budget. Ma'am, you are describing the country. You moved here.
Account, and I see that this has happened multiple times, and I didn't recognize them, and they were ATM withdrawals. And I was like, I didn't go to the bank, and I asked Yohan about it. I was like, did you go to the ATM and take money out of my account? He's like,
okay, the 160. Here is what that scene actually is. Yohan, who has no steady income, which was in the pitch deck, nobody hid this from her, needs money. Daniele's card is on the nightstand. He takes it. He walks to an ATM. He withdraws $160. He comes back. In Daniele's cosmology, this is theft. In Yohan's cosmology, this is Tuesday. And somewhere between those two interpretations is the marriage. There is no prenup. There is no joint account. There is no agreement about what is his and what is hers, because Daniele did not want to have that conversation before the ring. Because having that conversation before the ring would have meant admitting out loud in daylight that she was the bank.
like Danielle was the one that was paying for everything.
She was the bank. She is still the bank. The bank is the only job she has on this show. She does not want to be the bank. She resents being the bank. The bank is the entire reason Yohan is on the show. The bank is why the producers cast them. The franchise does not cast poor women and rich men. The franchise casts rich women and poor men because the inversion is the engine, because the inversion is where the friction lives, and the friction is the content. And this is where I want to introduce a term, because I've been thinking about Daniele for weeks, and I could not find the right word. And then it arrived, and now I cannot unsee it. Daniele is...
Or you need to find another American wife, one who is codependent. There are so many. I can refer you out.
En mi casa yo estaba...
She did not go to the Dominican Republic to find a husband. She went to the Dominican Republic to purchase a relationship experience she could not afford at her price point in New York. And the experience she was sold. And here the franchise is complicit. Because the franchise sells this experience every week was younger, handsome, attentive Dominican man who will treat you like a queen. And in exchange for this, you will pay for the treating. That was the listing. That is what she clicked on. That is what she flew down for. She did not misread the brochure. She read it exactly right. And then, having checked in, having received the product as advertised, she proceeded to complain that it came with a Dominican man attached.
Danielle. Like, this woman even sent Danielle the explicit photos that Yohan had been sending her whilst right next to Danielle.
That is the Karen of international dating. Not the woman who asked to speak to the manager. The woman who, having received the sweater, calls the store and demands to speak to the sheep. And look, I know what the objection is. The objection is, but he did actually cheat on her, and she did actually get robbed. And being a wronged wife is not the same as being a Karen. And yes, both of those things can be simultaneously true. Yohan, by her account and by the receipts Reddit has compiled, was not a faithful husband. Yohan, by his own on-camera behavior, was not particularly fair with shared resources. He is not the saint of this story. Nobody here is the saint of this story. The story does not have a saint. The story has two adults who entered a transaction whose terms neither one wanted to write down, and then spent 3 seasons relitigating the terms they refused to draft. That is a breach of contract case filed in the court of public opinion. Neither side deserves damages.
You sound so resentful right now, Hugs. Yes, he is cheating on me.
And the receipts, the infamous Danielle receipts, are the most fascinating artifact of this marriage. Because Danielle did not have her private investigator run the numbers on Yohan once. She had them running the whole time. From before the wedding, she knew, before she said I do, that the numbers were bad. She said I do anyway. That is not the behavior of a woman being deceived. That is the behavior of a woman making a calculated bet that the feeling she was getting from the vacation would be worth the eventual cost of the paperwork. The bet did not pay out, but the bet was placed, clear-eyed, knowingly, on camera. All right, pivot. Because we have spent time on the comedy, and I want to get to the diagnostic. And the diagnostic is not about Danielle. The diagnostic is about what they did next. And what they did next is, in my opinion, the most fascinating maneuver any couple has pulled on this network in the last decade.
When asked by confused fans if there was some sort of open marriage going on here, her response was, "We were separated for a year, so it's not unreasonable for him to have been in another relationship."
They opened the marriage on camera during the peak of the scandal, while Reddit was still assembling the timeline of the infidelity allegations. Danielle, who has been publicly naming Yohan as a liar, a thief, and a serial cheater, declares, in a tone I would describe as strategic, that she and Yohan are now going to be in an open marriage. Not because they have philosophically arrived at polyamory as a framework, because the open marriage is a rebrand. It is a repositioning of a scandal into a lifestyle, and the lifestyle conveniently monetizes.
The difference between my husband and my work is that in my work, people pay me.
As of 2025, Danielle and Yohan are jointly promoting an adult-based social media platform. Together, as a couple, grinning in the press shot, as if the preceding 3 seasons of mutual public accusation, the dog, the clothes, the $160, the 50 to 60 mistresses, never happened. They are, on the new website, a brand. And I want you to really hold this in your hand. The fight was the sales funnel. The divorce was the launch window. The
No. You're not going anywhere with my dog, Yohan. Yohan, you're not. Yohan, you're not going anywhere with my dog. Yohan. Yohan, no. Give me the dog. Give me the dog.
Remember the dog? Mid-fight, Yohan threatens to take the dog. Daniele screams. Reddit writes 2,000 comments about who the real monster is. The dog is used in this marriage the way a hostage is used in a bad action movie. The dog is leverage. The dog is also incidentally paid for by Daniele, as is the house, as are the clothes. The clothes, I want you to remember the clothes, because she once threatened on camera with her actual mouth to cut them off of him.
He just grabbed his clothes, made an excuse, and left.
She bought them. She will cut them. This is the logic of ownership applied to a human adult. This is not, I want to be extremely clear, the behavior of someone who is losing. This is the behavior of someone who is explicitly articulating the transaction that has governed the relationship from day one. I paid for the clothes, so the clothes are mine. So you are wearing my clothes, so you by extension are wearing me. So I can remove me whenever I want. That is a line of reasoning I have heard in custody disputes. I have heard it in contract law. I have heard it in landlord-tenant arbitration. I have not, until Danielle, heard it as a closing argument in a fight over a pair of trousers. Now, pivot again. Let's zoom out. Because the Wyo and Danielle saga is not actually that rare in this universe. It is, in fact, an entire subgenre.
From cheating scandals to stolen cash, from drugs to allegations of abuse, from mistresses to $100,000 dating services, and of all things, a tick.
The older American woman, younger foreign man arc is a pillar of this franchise. It is responsible for at least a quarter of the show's running minutes. And the arc always runs in the same 3-act structure. Act 1, blissful vacation footage. Language barrier played as cute. Age gap played as spacey. Act 2, woman moves abroad or man moves to America. Reality sets in. Financial imbalance becomes public. Fights begin. Act 3, either divorce or the Netflix documentary style pivot into we open the marriage, we're building a brand, buy our book. Every single time. It is the law of the DR Karen. It is the law of the Tunisian post-nup. It is the law of the Pillow Talk arc. It is law. And inside that law, Daniele is not a remarkable specimen. She is a prototypical one. She is the version of this arc with the volume turned slightly up and the pretense turned slightly down. The complaint that the Dominican Republic is too Dominican is not her invention. It is the default mode of the genre. Angela did the same complaint, only with Nigeria. Lisa did the same complaint, only with Nigeria. Kim is doing the same complaint, live with Nigeria right now, in real time, as I am recording this. It is always Nigeria or the DR or Tunisia or Morocco. It is always the franchise misselling the location as exotic and then blaming the woman for being surprised that the exotic came with its own weather. Daniele is not special. Danielle is the template, and the template is the content, and the content is the business.
Now, shortly after those Instagram videos, Danielle again took to Instagram, claiming that she wants a divorce, but Yohan is delaying things.
October 2024, joint Instagram post. grinning, no caption, acknowledging the preceding years of mutual public accusation. Just two people smiling like a high school reunion nobody told them they weren't invited to. The comments on that post are the single funniest thing I have read all year. Thousands of fans saying, in unison, what? And that single word chorus is the most accurate review of this marriage that has ever been written. What? That is the official fan consensus. What? To be fair, I want to say this, and this is the walk back, and it's real. Daniele is a human being. She was lonely. She fell for a man who was, by every observable metric, charming and attentive and present in a way her previous dating life apparently had not been. She did not draft the franchise's casting brief. She was cast into it. And Yohan likewise did not invent the economic conditions that make marrying an older American the most rational long-term financial decision available to a 26-year-old in Puerto Plata. These are two people operating inside a machine much bigger than either of them. They are not its authors, they are its employees. And the machine, the franchise, makes more money off the fight than off the marriage. So the machine is structurally incentivized to foster the fight. Every confessional question is a wedge. Every producer text message is a reopened wound. This is not two people failing at love. This is two people succeeding at reality television, which is a different and much uglier job. But employees, I will note, have agency. Employees can quit. Employees can, if they are so inclined, choose to stop monetizing their divorce. Danielle and Yohan, so far,
not the brand name, but the other, like the generic. Yes, the generic or off-brand Barbie and Ken, Shekinah and Sarper. Let's talk about them.
$160, 50 to 60 mistresses, 1 dog, 1 adult content website, 2 Instagram grids, 0 acknowledgements in public of what actually happened between them. Daniela moved to the Dominican Republic and was shocked the Dominican Republic was there. She is now moving product with the same man to the same audience who is watching for the same reason they always were. And listen, I'm not here to tell you Daniele is uniquely monsters. She is not. There is no monster here. There is a New York woman who wanted a different life. A Dominican man who wanted a different passport, a network that wanted a different quarter, and a timeline where every single party got exactly what they asked for and then asked for refunds. The invoices by now are all paid. The receipts by now are all public. The marriage by now is a product. The vacation is over. The gift shop is open. If you made it this far, you either love me or you're looking for something to yell about in the comments. Either way, like, subscribe, and tell your sister.